Hello. So this is for a YouTube video. Alright, so what I'm going to say, guys, is... This is going to be a very short video, but I have something I want to say. So this is about the pros and cons to playing EverQuest P99 versus P99 Blue versus Quorum Server versus Live. Hi there, Raven. I am making this as a short video about the benefits and pros and cons to EverQuest Blue, Green, and Red, and everything above. So, here's some bullet points. 1. The population. EverQuest population has been on the decline on Green and Blue. Blue especially has declined. The P99 Blue population is always going to be less than the Green population, and the Green population is way less people than the population of Quorum Server. Yeah, that's right. The population on Blue, Green, and Red are way less than Quorum and way less than the other server, which is a live server. I forget what the name. Teak. That's the one. Teak. The reason why is that Teak is new. It's a fresh new server, and Blue and Green have been stagnating for 10 years now. That's one thing. So, when you join the server, you have to think, is this for me? Do I want a smaller, stagnating population? Number 2, are you on a European time zone? Also, make sure that this is heard. Are you on a European time zone? If you are in a European time zone, are you busy? Because if you are on a busy time zone in EverQuest, if you're a busy time zone in real life, and you're in a European time zone, then this server is probably not for you. The reason obviously being that EverQuest P99 has a very much a US time zone faced server. It's a US based server, and there's going to be hardly any people here that will play with you, unfortunately. Number 3, besides that one, is, are you going to be dedicated to killing mobs and solo? Do you prefer to solo or do you prefer to group? If you're willing to dedicate your time to solo and don't mind the grouping scene, then P99 is for you. T99 benefits soloing more so than other servers because it is very heavy on the solo. The XP, there's no benefit to grouping at all. In fact, the XP is split between a bunch of people, which is why on Quorum Server you have 5% per person in the group, which means a group of 6 in theory would be 30% more XP with a full group. 25 to 30% XP more. So, that's one thing. If you like soloing, if you're okay with soloing the rest of your life, if you got time to dedicate to solo money, if you are okay with smaller population, which also means less competition for loot, then that also is important. Another one is raid scene. Are you okay with a bunch of Zergs dominating one area and then not having chance of getting your epic ever? Because when you have no instance raiding, there is an impossible situation where it's inevitable that the biggest guild with experienced raiders who know where everything is and how to do it will just zerg everything down, and because they're greedy, they will take everything and they don't care about other people. Instance raiding allows that you don't have to do the stupid poop socking shit and stuff like that, And people with real life can actually have a chance at raiding. So all these little things are important. I even made a bullet point in a video of a person named, let's see what the guy's name is. Decius on YouTube. Give this guy a watch. I think this video is very important. He is named Decius. Let me post his YouTube link. Let's see. Decius. Here you go. If you see this guy's video, you should see this guy's video. It's an important topic, of course. He's way more popular than I am. Bigger one, more important. That stuff. This guy talks about EverQuest. He's talking about this kind of stuff. Of course, I made some commentary that said P99 population decline, and this inspired me to make this video. Because one, their soloing population, the people are lazy, always congregating corners. That's a big one. Another one if you care about. Because everybody seems to always congregate in Carner's Castle. Nobody wants to go out because they don't care about the XP bonus or anything. Because there is no XP bonus here. They just end up soloing. Like all the enchanters are always just soloing in Frenzy Spiders or something. Because nobody cares about grouping here. There's almost no benefit to grouping at all. And of course, the raid scene is terrible in this server. But the people are very kind. There are benefits to the server. The people are very nice. And if you're willing to bite your tongue and not burn any bridges with people, possibly like I have done in the past, you can have some people who will help you. And obviously, an environment like this, it benefits from having people who are willing to help you. I think that's always a good thing, that you need people who are really kind and willing to help you. Otherwise, a kind of game like this, which is hardcore, is not going to survive. If you have a server like this and people are assholes and they're kill stealing and not willing to help, obviously it's not going to succeed. That's just the way it is. You need a good population. And obviously, any willing to help people also helps them succeed and makes the game better for everyone. So I think that's always up to you. Now the benefits of Quorum server, obviously, there are some stuff that most likely are not as good as P99. It's not as established yet. They nerfed the bards. Bards have less soloing power. And they have instancing, which means that people might not like that stuff. There's some people who really hate instancing. They hate that kind of stuff. Because then you could have a giant guild help another giant guild to do a raid and possibly split the loot with them or something. There's obviously some benefits to live. But see, my problem with live, and I'm going to change to live now, if I have it. I don't. So the problem with live EverQuest is that live EverQuest has a bunch of bots who are just sitting, or not bots. They have a bunch of mercenaries and shit, and there's nobody to play with. It's completely empty. You think this is empty? P99 blue and green are empty, but live servers are even more empty. Like, I've told Fire that the reason why I don't play EverQuest on P99 is because the server is practically empty. There's nobody to play with. So, anyways, as I was saying, there's hardly any people. Everybody who is in P99, I mean not P99, live EverQuest are in the 105 to 115 range. Or not even, 110 to 115. Everybody is max level. So because of that, everybody is just using mercenaries to that point. And even by then, they're boxing at max level. So there's nobody to play with. You are just burning right through content and ignoring it. It's not as fun as playing with other people, going to a zone, going into a dungeon, and having fun. There's that. And there, another part is, besides that, is that a lot of people hate the button bloat. There is a ton of button bloat on the live servers. They have so much button bloat, it's unbearable. They have tons of button bloats. Tons and tons of button bloat. They will have tons of buttons where you spam all these AAs, and they have long duration, and you have to know exactly where to use it. So, yeah, that's not a benefit at all. That's a detriment if you're a new player coming in. I think EverQuest P99 is much more simple. You can figure out the buttons once you have a little bit of practice. It's not a massive button bloat where you have to remember what AAs for what and leveling a bunch of AAs. And besides that, of course, is that they have some pretty unpopular DLCs. After Planes of Power, the interest kind of fizzles out. Once you get past Planes of Power, people start to really not enjoy it as much because of the server content was not as good. And then it starts to include mercenaries and the books and stuff. And the most nostalgic one, of course, is up to Velius and Planes of Power. From Velius to Planes of Power, you know? And that's when it stops getting as popular and it starts to really dip. So that is my opinion. Now about that one. Now about Teak Server. Now, in my opinion, Teak Server has a bunch of issues too. You have the problem of people who are selling... Well, what's that coin that you use for buying live service? The membership? What's the... Chrono, that's what it's called. There's a bunch of bots selling Chrono. They will be farming money, bots who farm money, and then after that, they'll sell the Chrono for money, real world money trading. And there's a ton of that kind of stuff going on. I've heard rumors of toxicity, and there is toxicity. There's toxicity everywhere. And of course, there eventually will reach a point where it gets past Planes of Power, and that's where the cutoff starts happening, and people stop caring about it. So that is how I classify the ones. Do you prefer P99, blue, green? Do you prefer Quorum Server? Do you prefer Teak Server? Do you prefer Live Server? Tell me in the commentary, guys, because I am out. See you later.